She's been through a lot. I mean, they told me she was on the street, so they don't know, how. She said she lost her legs, definitely not born that way.
Noodles and I were able to find each other at exactly the moment that we both needed to be rescued.
He was unconscious, his lungs collapsed, he had spinal injury, rear leg injury.
Max didn't have enough life to justify the surgery.
At PawsAbility in Toronto, Janice Olnick makes and fits prosthetic and orthotic devices for dogs and other animals.
God, I know. What do you think?
While she was originally trained to make devices for humans, she's now modified her skills to help animals lead their happiest, healthiest, and most playful lives, making them adaptable animals.
This is my girl, Sonya. I just got her from Russia. She only came with 3 legs, so we're gonna see if Janice can finish the job.
Today at PawsAbility, Bob Langone is bringing in Sonya, a Shephard mix who is around 6 years old.
I was actually looking for disabled dogs because I figured they're going to be hard to find a home for, and I don't care. So when she came up, I said, perfect.
So I'm going to cast Sonya on the floor, like on the ground. I think she'll be more comfortable.
She's been through a lot. I mean, they told me she was on the street, so they don't know, how. She said she lost her legs, definitely not born that way, but doesn't know how. I'm thinking she was on the streets for a while because she is really self-sufficient. If there's something she wants to do, she can do it.
I'm going to put socks on her leg and then just cast her. Do you think she would take a treat? She looks nervous.
Well, that's the test. If
That'll
she takes
be the
one.
thing, right?
Janice's plan for Sonya is to make a cast of her remaining right front leg in order to create a test prosthesis.
Yeah.
What's in there? Oh, yeah, she says, oh, well, I guess I could have a snack. I'm a little nervous. Oh my God, she's adorable. You're so good, I know. There you go. It's gonna be all very easy.
She seemed a bit shy. I was worried that we were stressing her out, but no, she's lovely. Very patient with what we were doing.
Yeah, the ears are going up. That's a good sign.
So we're gonna put 2 socks on, and I'm gonna put a little cutting strip in between them, and we're just gonna wrap her with casting tape.
Bob, a Catholic priest, had trouble even finding a dog to adopt during the pandemic.
I had another priest working with me until March, and then he got transferred. And at that point, it's like, I don't want to live alone. So I started looking. And Toronto, they were very nice. The Humane Society got back to me and said, we normally place 3,100 dogs a year. We presently have 10,000 people on the waiting list, so we're not taking any more names.
In the end, it was a chance encounter that brought Sonya to him.
Someone came by, his mother had died in December and was cremated. He wanted to hold the funeral off until the church was open, because for a while we were allowed 9 people at a funeral. So he stopped by to pick up the books, and I said, well, I've been trying to get a dog. And he said, oh, my sister does adoptions from Russia. They're mostly disabled, and he showed me a picture of.
You're being really good. Yeah.
I figured, I said, this would be not too bad because she's not a squirmer.
After Sonya made the trek from Russia to the States and then Canada, Bob was amazed how quickly she adapted to her new surroundings.
Good girl. The first week I had her, she got up on the roof of the church twice. She taught herself stairs, had never done stairs before. I think she's been on the streets and had to fend for herself, so she'll do whatever she needs to do to get where she wants to be.
And that's it. She's gonna have another cookie because she was amazing.
Bob and Sonya will be back in a few days to do a test fit, but for now, it's time to head to the park.
You want to escape? All right.
Over the past few months, Sonya has also adjusted to life at the rectory and daily mass.
The first day I got her, our daily mass is at 5:30, and I closed the door. Now, she hasn't known me for 12 hours the entire time. And the people who knew I was getting a dog just laughed. Since then, I leave the door at the top of the stairs open, and sometimes she comes down. As long as she knows she can get to me, she'll come out by the sacristy door and just stay there where it's a little safe. She stood when everyone stood up, and when everyone was sitting, she laid down. It's like she knew all the parts. The downside is when I give out communion, she thinks I'm giving treats to everyone, and she looks like, oh, where's mine? So this past weekend, I had a milk bone on the side table. So after I put everything away, I gave her a milk bone and she went off and she thought, okay.
So this is Noodles, my rescue from Mexico, and we have come to see if Janice can maybe help us with a fourth leg.
Like Sonya, Noodles is a rescue who Janice will be casting for a prosthetic today. His owner, Anna Rossiter, believes he's always belonged in Canada.
He is Mexican, but he actually doesn't like the sun and he loves the snow. I think he was born to live in Canada. He just started out in Mexico, but it wasn't really the right spot for him. He was destined to land right here.
Noodles is missing a large portion of his left front leg, which presents more of a challenge when creating a prosthesis.
We don't have a long leg, but we do have a lot of good contours to hold on to.
So we're just gonna capture the shape and do this up as a bit of a prototype as well. And
I'm quite sure that he actually belonged to somebody at some point in his life, and I think was then perhaps abandoned. And I guess that only because some of his behaviors indicate that he's been trained by someone. But I guess for whatever reason, they had to let him go and he ended up on the streets.
While Anna has given Noodles a better life in Canada, he's helped Anna through a difficult time in her own life.
I was involved in a pretty brutal car accident, and I had a lot of trouble gaining my mental strength back after that. I was very isolated and it really shook my world. And somebody suggested that perhaps I should use some company and that maybe a dog would be a good idea. And I thought, you know what? I would love to rescue a dog. So I started looking into it, and then by pure, absolute synchronicity, Noodles and I were able to find each other at exactly the moment that we both needed to be rescued.
so you can put him back onto the ground, and then when he's down there, I just want to do one measurement.
I didn't even notice that he only had 3 legs when we met, actually, at all. He came right up, laid his head down in my lap, and that was the beginning and the end.
Okay, so that's it.
You want to go home? You want to go home? He is
You gotta
a
go, I
very
know.
stubborn
See,
little
that's
boy.
fine.
But he's a friendly, friendly boy. The whole entire town that I live in is in love with our dog. He's very, very famous, which is adorable. And he likes it too. He's a bit of a show-off.
Let's go. I don't think I've ever had to give anybody liver to leave.
This is Chance. He's partially paralyzed and here for a repair on his brace, I hope.
3 years ago, David Jones rescued Chance from the Humane Society after the dog was involved in a serious accident.
You can bring Chance right in.
Okay. I think it was a big truck because when I first got him, he used to be afraid of when we approach a big truck. So I figured that was his fear. So I think it hit him like broad on the right side. He was crossing the street probably. And so he was unconscious, his lungs collapsed, he had spinal injury, rear leg injury.
It's definitely fixable. It just needs a bit of maintenance. I would pull off everything that's on the bottom and then go back and recreate the fiberglass on the bottom.
Chance's right front leg was left with permanent nerve and muscle damage. Janice created the brace to protect his paw and help his gait, but the device has gone through a lot of wear and tear over the past 3 years.
Yeah, we'll just do like new pads, new straps, and fix up the base here.
Okay. I was doing maintenance myself on it to make it last this long. It's time to get it repaired. Spend some money. Better for him. Makes it easier for me. Happy dog, happy owner.
I'm gonna steal your leg off.
They'll try to maintain certain aspects of the brace until they can get in to see me, or their dogs are just really hard on the base and they find that they need to do repairs.
Janice and her assistant Christina head into the workshop to get started on the repairs right away. Coming up,
I grew up abused and I take care of animals that need a good home.
Putting it down and putting a little bit of weight on
She
it.
is, she's trying. I do see her bending quite a bit in here.
Despite the fact that he's 12, he still thinks he's a puppy. He still runs, he still bounces, and he is hard on these braces.
Adaptable Animals is back.
So we'll do just a regular shot, but maybe we won't do the fold over. We'll cut it like that. Okay.
Janice and Christina are in the workshop repairing a brace that was made 3 years ago for Chance, a dog with neurological damage in one of his front legs.
I always tell people to expect the fiberglass structure is quite robust and that's usually fine. The internal padding is often quite durable as well, but the treads and the straps, I would say, are the most common things that need like regular maintenance, and it depends on the dog.
While waiting outside for Chance's device to be repaired, his owner David reflects on what led him to become a dog owner in the first place.
I grew up abused, and I take care of animals that need a good home. I knew I didn't want to grow up and have kids because of the way I was brought up. I never had the tools. So I grew up and I decided that owning a pet was my way of taking care of something else. It's therapy for both of us, yeah, because I know I'm doing something good for him, and he shows me the appreciation by this. He likes to be with me.
So far, Chance is the third dog that David has adopted.
He's unique because he's very stubborn. He tells me what he wants. He'll take me for walks, tells me when he wants to go home and when he wants to stay out.
Hi, happy guy. I know where the cookies are. Okay. All right, come here.
While working as Chance's physiotherapist at the Humane Society, it was actually Janice's assistant, Christina Jordmena, who suggested they visit PawsAbility for a brace.
He was one of the first animals I think I brought to PawsAbility to see if we could, help save a limb or just, help with comfort, give the animal that opportunity to remain on 4 legs if possible.
Good job.
Yeah. He looks great.
Thanks.
He looks great.
Yeah.
Thanks to physio and his brace, Chance was able to avoid amputation, and keeping him on 4 legs will help prevent arthritis and other joint issues in the future.
All right,
Bye, Chance.
Back in the workshop, Janice puts the finishing touches on the test prosthesis for Sonya, the 3-legged rescue from Russia.
So we have the plastic test socket, we have a little bit of a foot section here, some temporary componentry. This is just an initial sort of test fit. So we've set it up at the height that I think I need, and we'll put some temporary straps on it and see if she will try to use it. That's always the thing, right? So she hasn't used a leg in a little while, so she's gonna be a little bit weaker.
Look who's here.
We're all set, you can bring her in.
So this is just sort of the temporary setup. We just want to see a bunch of things that we may want to change.
Both Janice and Sonya's owner, Bob, are hopeful that she'll learn to use the device for her overall well-being.
To see her, when she is walking without it, it is a lot on that other leg. So to integrate a 4th leg, I think would be really beneficial for her over her life.
I'm really hoping she gets used to it. I figure overall, it should make her life easier, and as she gets older, she'll less likely be in a wagon. Putting a little bit of weight on it.
She is, she's trying. I do see her bending quite a bit in here. Needs her eye.
Come on. Come on.
Oh no, okay. Okay, so I'm gonna go add a suspension strap, and I'm also going to make this rigid.
While Janice tweaks the device in the workshop, she knows it's unlikely that they'll see Sonya walk properly today.
For shorter limbs, I do usually caution them that it can be more difficult for the dog to get used to it, and just always stressing that at the end of the day, it is up to the dog to be able to make the connection as to what we want them to do with the device, but we want to give them the best chance possible, and that means a well-fitting, well-aligned device and an owner who's consistent and supportive and encouraging, and then likely some physiotherapy help as well.
Sonya's put back into her device with the added support of a suspension harness and rigid hinges.
Good girl.
Come on.
Come on.
Yeah.
Good girl. Good girl.
I'm too upset now.
Janice is optimistic that Sonya will eventually learn to use her device, but knows she's not ready to move on to the final version just yet.
Yeah, good.
Good.
That was good. That was good. That was a little step. Just one, but it was good. I can have this as like somewhat of a test setup, just like this, that you would take home and try and work with, and maybe go to physio and see if you could get her to use it. So giving her a bit of a home trial is sometimes a good way to go. Okay, so I'm gonna pop it off. I think this was a good first session for you.
Who's the brave girl?
For now, Janice will make a few more changes to the device before Bob and Sonya are able to take it home.
This is Max coming in for a brace checkup. Max is hard on his braces. He needs to come and see Janice every so often to get a little tune-up.
John, Rob, and Max are at PawsAbility to pick up the German Shepherd's repaired brace.
So we did a new liner, new straps, new pads, new base.
Despite the fact that he's 12, he still thinks he's a puppy. He still runs, he still bounces, and he is hard on these braces. So we come and visit Janice anywhere from every 2 to 6 months to have it adjusted. We actually own 2 braces because we're so active with them that we found it necessary to have a backup.
A few years ago, Max suffered a ligament injury in his right front carpus, or what would be a wrist in humans.
One of the more common ones, which Max has, is carpal hyperextension. And so they have an abnormal extension range of motion due to stretching of ligaments usually.
We're just making sure that it's gonna be tight enough. It was a little bit loose.
Janice checks the fit of Max's updated backup brace. His owner, John, was actually the real estate agent who helped her find PawsAbility's current location.
I met Janice, I guess about 4 years ago when she moved into her office space here where she makes her braces, and was very impressed by what she did. And then 2 years later, I found myself banging on her door one Monday morning asking for help because my veterinarians, 3, weren't able to give me the right answer, and I was very concerned about Max. So we came in here, and in less than a week, Janice had 2 braces made for Max.
That twist of fate worked in Max's favor. His braces have allowed him to stay active in his golden years.
All right, so I'm gonna get this finished up. We'll see you back in a little while.
Come on.
Coming up,
Honestly, there's so many dogs, and I don't know what they would be doing if they didn't have these options.
He's looking for a leg up in this world. He can't wait.
You're going to make it a challenge for them. Huh?
Adaptable Animals is back.
Come on. It's a good boy. Come on.
John Robb and his 12-year-old German Shepherd Max are at the park while Janice finishes fixing his backup brace.
I think it's a good measure of how much we must love our dog for what we've put into this old guy at the end of his life. And we're actually very concerned about being very careful with him, recognizing that if he were to hurt another leg, that there wouldn't be another Janice fix for him at that point in his life. Come on, let's get him lying down for you this time.
Yeah,
Janice.
I think that'll be easier.
In the end, Max's braces have given him support and comfort when surgery just wasn't an option.
You gonna get up? You gonna get up, sir? Come on, Max.
When he hurt himself, we looked at his age and looked at the requirement for surgery and figured out that Max didn't have enough life to justify the surgery.
Looking good, sir. Yeah.
Honestly, there's so many dogs, and I don't know what they would be doing if they didn't have these options. Like, I think it's a really nice option to have. I think there's a lot of cases that are of dog injuries that can be managed with surgery. Happy for PawsAbility to be the option when there aren't other options for that dog.
This is definitely the only pet-related stop we make that Max is excited to come to.
Oh, that's
Janice.
nice.
Yes,
That's
he loves you.
Well, I love him too. Hi.
Hi, Janice. How are you today?
Thank you.
For amputees like Noodles, a prosthesis can help take some of the strain off the remaining limbs.
Let's get up on the table, okay? It's time to get the leg. I sense that he's slowing down a little bit. I feel like I can sense that he's getting a little sore, that his front leg is starting to be more work than I want him to have to go through. So I just really, really, really wanted to give him the best possible chance at having the best possible life he could have.
So we just have the test set up today. I have to get some straps on it. I don't know about alignment, so
Okay.
there's just getting it into a position where you could take it home and use it.
Well, that is so exciting.
Noodles is another one, like Sonya, that has a shorter limb presentation, so that can make things a bit more difficult for fitting. You just don't have as much to hold on to.
I'm gonna get some straps on this.
The big thing for Noodles is just for him to make the connection as to what we want him to do with the device.
Once the straps are attached, a harness is added to provide additional stability and support.
So we're on and we're suspended. I don't know that we're gonna see Noodles do some walking today,
It's
but
okay.
we wanna make sure that it's in kind of a neutral position.
You want to try and walk on it? Yeah, you want to try and take a couple steps and see what happens?
After seeing how much Noodles has changed since she rescued him off the streets of Mexico, his owner Anna is hopeful he'll get used to the prosthesis.
He's just a brand new dog. He is so healthy. He barely even could walk on 3 legs when we got him. Like he was in pretty bad shape. He had a pretty hard time. He was in a lot of pain, and now he is just not. Now he has the stamina of a puppy. He is just living his very best life, and this is just going to take it to that next step.
You got it. That was good. That was one.
The plan is for Noodles to take the test prosthesis home and start physio, all in the hopes that he will eventually move on to a final device.
The minute we heard about this incredible woman and her fabulous business, we knew. We knew that we were headed straight for her just as fast as we were able to get in. Yay, Noodles!
Bob and his 3-legged dog Sonya are back to pick up her finished test device for a longer trial period at home.
I really think once she gets used to it, she won't be trying to ditch it. It'll be like, okay, yeah, this works pretty well.
But for now, Sonya continues her hopping gait pattern.
The only missing piece is for her to realize what we want her to do with it and to be willing to do that. And I mean, at the end of the day, the dog always has the choice of whether to do it or not.
Well, I don't think we're gonna get her in walking with it, so we're gonna pop this off.
My role is to make the socket fit the best and the alignment be optimal. Physio's role is to help get her as strong as possible, and then Bob's role is gonna be to be consistent and encouraging with it when he's home. So everybody has a role to play, but at the end of the day, she's the only one that can do it or not.
I think you would love to go running with the dogs. I see you at the dog park just looking longingly. She taught herself the dog door. She taught herself stairs. So I think adapting to the leg will be not that difficult. She'll be like, what is this thing? But once you start standing on it, like, oh.
Simone Cupid, Integrated Described Video Specialist. Karen McGee, Content Development Specialist. Jennifer Johnson, Coordinating Producer. Karen Nye, Director, Production. Brian Perdue, Director, Programming. John Melville, VP, Content Development and Programming. David Arrington, President and CEO. Produced for AMI by Mountain Road Productions. Copyright 2022 Accessible Media, Inc.